Hey everybody, Uncle Rich here for Who's Telling the Truth. Guys, this is show 158. Today's date is December 5th, 2016, and the name of the show is Fake News. I know what you're going to think. But guys, before we get into the fake news, I got an important message I want to convey, especially to the little kids. Uncle Joey, I want you to get your grandkids, bring them close, because I've been hearing something. I've been hearing that global warming is starting to create problems for Santa Claus. I heard that Santa Claus's sleigh has been mired in the mud. All the snow's melting. So kids, especially Uncle Joey's grandkid, you gotta say, Grandpa, you gotta save Christmas. You gotta save Santa. You gotta save the elves. You gotta save the reindeer. And maybe with all the little kids running around, they'll get the real news instead of the fake news. But guys, tonight's show, it's only a matter of time before something happens with this fake news. And first, I'm going to show you a still. And guys, I looked at this still, and I quickly looked at the story. Judy, can you bring up OO, please? So I looked at this, and I read it, and how fake news articles fabricated by a child trafficking story led to death threats for a pizzeria. And the story goes on to say how it involves Hillary and John Podesta, and I said to myself, nobody in their right mind could think this is possibly true. But guys, I was wrong. I was wrong. The simple folk in the Republican Party proved me wrong. There was one clown that decided he had to self-investigate this conspiracy. So what did he do? He packed up his AR-15 and he decided to go down to the pizza place. And guys, Judy, let's have clip number 01. This is what happened when he went to the pizza place.
Only on Verizon.
A North Carolina man is under arrest accused of firing an assault rifle inside a Washington, D.C. pizzeria. Police say the suspect told them that he was there self-investigating a fictitious online conspiracy theory. The restaurant had been linked to the fake news stories alleging unfounded crimes by Hillary Clinton and her campaign chairman. No one was injured in yesterday's incident, and Edgar Welch was charged with assault. The owner of the restaurant says they've been constantly attacked on social media and received death threats.
That's some sick crap, isn't it, guys? Can you imagine going out to have a slice of pizza and you get some Fruit Loop coming in with an AR-15 that thinks you're sex trafficking and he wants to find out? But before this happened, we're going to show you a clip before, and then you're going to see how the neighborhood started to embrace this pizza place. They started to stand behind them, and they went to bat for him, and everything was fine. Everything was hunky-dory with the neighborhood. And let's show that clip, and you'll say, okay, everything's fine, right? So, Judy, let's have clip number 02.
So scores of friends and neighbors have been turning out to support a D.C. hounded by online bullies and conspiracy theorists.
Comet Ping Pong has been hammered by thousands of threats and bizarre, unsubstantiated conspiracy theories about child sex trafficking. Bruce LeShan says some of the online threats, they could constitute a crime.
Well, that's right, Adam. Death threats, assault threats, both possible crimes. The owner and staff at Comet Ping Pong have been getting plenty of those threats, and now it is spreading to other nearby businesses.
We wanted to see the hullabaloo.
Here come the pizzeria's defenders.
Coming here is one of several small acts of resistance that I can do to keep myself sane in an increasingly insane and moronic environment.
Friends and neighbors say they will not stand for the massive online attack on Comet Ping Pong.
Pizza is actually a term used by pedophiles to describe pedophilia or child porn.
Under the hashtag Pizzagate, the vandals are spreading an imaginary story that the popular Northwest D.C. pizza shop is the center of a child sex slave ring.
Can you believe
organized
this, guys?
by Hillary Clinton and her former campaign manager.
Whenever I see it being done, I'm going to become a regular customer. So you want to give somebody business, attack them like this, they got my business.
The underground tunnel that helps them take the kids and transport people back and forth so they can do these rituals.
The conspiracy theory may sound absurd, but it has won over lots of believers who keep turning up at the restaurant looking for enslaved children.
They are putting a lot of curses and spells over the city.
The user-generated news site Reddit has now shut down the Pizzagate thread, saying it will not be a party to witch hunts. But the attacks have already spread to other nearby businesses, like Terra Sol, apparently singled out because it had a picture of Clinton on its website.
These people are putting in hours and hours of work to casually destroy people who I don't think they don't really believe we exist, and that, they're doing real harm.
Especially sad here is that the hackers have pilfered Instagram pictures of young children having fun at the restaurant and somehow twisted those pictures into evidence of abuse. The online thugs say they are trying to protect kids, but instead they are exploiting them, actually putting their faces on the web as sexual assault victims. Adam?
These people need to get something else better to do. Bruce, thanks. Well, an FBI spokeswoman says she can neither confirm nor deny an investigation of the attacks on Comet Ping Pong.
Guys, it doesn't take much to incite the simple folk. And the next clip, we're going to prove it to you. And you're gonna watch the clip and you're going to say to yourself, what do we have to do? I mean, what are we going to do? I mean, when there's news sources that go out of their way to mislead these poor bastards, that's all I could say. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to believe this stuff? Right, Uncle Joe? I love Uncle Joey, but I tell you, he just doesn't he doesn't want to get it. And, in that clip we saw, if you had anything to do with Clinton, you were the enemy. And this nonsense has got to stop. But the next clip is going to show you how this all comes to fruition. And Chris Coumo did a beautiful job with this clip. So, Judy, let's have clip 3, please.
A scary scene unfolded in Washington, D.C. when an armed man walked into a pizzeria. The suspect told police he wanted to self-investigate a crazy conspiracy theory involving the Clinton campaign and the restaurant. Here to discuss, CNN senior media correspondent and host of Reliable Sources, Brian Stelter, and CNN media analyst, Bill Carter. Gentlemen, great to have you here. This is, it's happening, okay? So fake news and crazy conspiracy theories now see the real-time, real-life consequences. People become incensed by them, they become upset, and they show up with a gun at a pizzeria. I'll just read to you very quickly what the owner of the pizzeria said. What happened today demonstrates that promoting false and reckless conspiracy theories comes with consequences. I hope that those involved in fanning these flames will take a moment to contemplate what happened here today and stop promoting these falsehoods right away. Brian, what are we to do about the ubiquity of false news?
And this is a fake story, but it ended up with a real gunshot. Thankfully this person discharged the weapon at the ground, apparently not at anyone in particular. Thankfully no one was injured in this case. It's an isolated incident, and I think we all feel in the back of our heads or in our guts that this is going to keep happening. Things like this are going to keep happening as we deal with this plague of fake news. It's a supply and demand problem. You know, some people want to believe these malicious falsehoods online, and I would also point out not all conspiracy theories are created equally. This was a particularly
Really
pernicious conspiracy theory, over the top.
Right.
Impossible to believe, and yet people do subscribe to it.
Well, first of all, you have to look at the actor, right? I mean, every case you look at specifically, he's either mentally ill or really stupid. Either way, that's not somebody you're going to reach just with simple fact and truth. Right. So then you get to just on the macro. What do we do about this? My first instinct is to not call it fake news.
Right.
I do not believe that you give a label that legitimizes BS.
We've gone too far with the news in there. These things are preposterous fabrications.
This is not new. This has always happened.
Yes, people make
easier now.
Series about everything. We've been talking about this for generations.
Right.
But these are being taken, and they're not being repudiated by the right people.
Not only are they not.
Guys, in a later clip we're going to show you where they said, don't call it fake news, call it lies. Because that's what it is, it's a lie. And start your sentence. Another lie told by so-and-so. And guys, you know, how do we know it's a lie? Because we'll cite the sources that they got it from. Hey, we spoke about that on the last show. But I love the way Chris Coumo said, are they mentally ill or just really stupid? And guys, the next clip, we're going to show you some Trump supporters. And just watch how these people will go to bat for Trump. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what Trump says or what Trump does. They're going to support him. And watch the very first question that's asked. Is voting a right or a privilege? And you know, the first woman, she gets that wrong right off the bat. Something that we can look up in the Constitution and we can find that the term right to vote is mentioned 5 times. But to a Trump supporter, it's not the right to vote, it's a privilege. Why? They get everything wrong. They get everything bass-ackwards. It's that simple, you know? So Judy, let's prove what I say. And guys, you can laugh at these people. You really can, and they deserve to be laughed at. So Judy, let's prove my point. Number 4, please.
Voting is a privilege in this country, and you need to be legal, not like California where 3 million illegals voted.
Let's talk about that.
I'm glad I brought that up, Allison.
Me too, Paula. So where are you getting your information?
From the media.
From the media.
Some of it was CNN, I believe.
CNN said that 3 million illegal people voted
Well,
in
it was coming
California?
all across the media. All across. Well, CNN didn't do it, then they were being smart this time.
What media?
Do you think that 3 million illegal people voted?
I believe in California that there were illegals that voted.
How many?
I don't. To tell you the truth, nobody really knows that number.
But do you think 3 dozen or do you think 3 million?
I think there was a good amount because the president told people that they could vote, and it happened in Nashua. We caught some people that they went into Nashua and they said, the president said I can vote. I'm here illegally.
Did you hear President Obama say that illegal people could vote?
Yes, I did.
I heard it this morning, actually.
Yes, I did
We all
hear.
have the same sources.
You can find it, Google it.
Google
you can
it.
find it on Facebook.
Good idea.
All right, hold on. I don't want to waste any more time, but anyway, I see where it came from, and it's Fox Business Network deceptively edited a clip of Barack Obama to argue that the president encouraged illegal immigrants to vote when in fact he had said nothing of the sort when you go back to the transcript. You, as you sit here today, think that millions of illegal people voted in this country. You believe that there was widespread voting abuse.
I think there was in some states.
In the millions of people.
California allows it.
They do not allow illegal. You mean voter fraud? California allows.
I believe there is voter fraud in this.
Guys, did you hear what Allison Camerata said? It came from a story on Fox Business News where the article was dishonestly edited. And guys, I got to be honest with you, I screwed up because I copied and pasted the stuff that they discredited him with, but I didn't transfer it to my computer. So I'm the one that for a change doesn't have it right. But guys, you can Google it and you can find out the truth. And that's what this is all about. You know, and the guy that writes the fake news, believe it or not, these guys make a career out of this. And when you hear how much money they make when they create fake news, this one guy supposedly is making $10,000 a month. I guess from the revenues that he's getting from Google and YouTube. But you know, once again, don't listen to me. Let's watch the clip and let's see if they're telling us the truth. So Judy, number 5, please.
Hey guys, welcome back to Think Tank. Hannah and Kenny Hamilton here. So if you have been on Facebook because you don't live in Iraq, you might have noticed some fake news stories during the election. Now, some recent investigation into these fake news stories, unfortunately, after the election, shows that these news stories were actually shared a lot more than real news stories. Now, recently, one of the authors of these fake news stories came out and he started talking about how he was making $10,000 a month on these stories.
$10,000 a month.
And he says that he actually thinks that he single-handedly helped President Trump, or Trump become President-elect Trump. And now, in the last 3 months of the election, fake news stories had more engagement on Facebook than real news, like I mentioned. Obviously, Trump benefited from a lot of these stories, right? There was one that saying that Pope Francis endorsed him, and that was a huge one that went viral. Clearly not true. Now, this fake news writer that I mentioned, Paul Horner, is responsible for fake news stories like the Amish in America commit their vote to Donald Trump, mathematically guaranteeing him a presidential victory, and Obama signs executive order banning the national anthem at all sporting events nationwide. Now, we asked him why his fake news stories go viral so often, and Horner replied, honestly, people are definitely dumber. They just keep passing stuff around. Nobody fact checks anything anymore. I mean, that's how Trump got elected. He just said whatever he wanted, and people believed everything. And when the things he said turned out not to be true, people didn't care because they'd already accepted it. It's really scary. I've never done anything like it. He said that even one of Trump's campaign managers shared his fake stories about the paid protesters. Horner said that he made that up and posted a fake ad on Craigslist, which is crazy, right? And so if he's realizing that this is so despicable and that people are so dumb, why did he do it in the first place? Right. He said, I thought they'd fact check it and make them look worse. I mean, that's how this always works. Someone posts something I write, then they find out it's false, then they look like idiots. But Trump supporters, they just keep running with it. They never fact check anything, and now he's in the White House. This is terrifying. This is absolutely terrifying. Did you realize all these fake stories were going around during the election?
No, yeah, you would see it all the time because there's also fake stories like these. In the political realm, there's a lot of entertainment stories that are completely fake and false and things like that, whether it's somebody dating this person's pregnant, things like that. So you look at it, and every time I would click on some of these, and then you'll see they come in as ads, and it's a money-making scheme because a lot of these pages, they have ads on them, they have all these news stories, but the way he's making that money is by clicks. So they pay a percent or a cent or a dollar per click. So he's making these because he's getting so many clicks and people are sharing them. So the more people share them, the more clicks on the site, the more money he gets paid from the advertisers and things like that. So this has been something that's been going around because there's also real stories that get shared and there's real companies that actually monetize this through celeb pages and other, big influencer pages on Facebook. Okay. It's a huge money-making scheme. So not scheme, but it's a way just to make money socially. And I've seen it all day long, and you would see a lot of these fake political stories. And I live through the social media world and online and things. So not only do I fact check, a lot of times I'm like, I didn't get a CNN alert about this. Like, Pope Francis endorsing Trump, you're gonna get a CNN alert. You know
that is so true.
I have Politico on my phone, so it's like a lot of different things. So I would get I would see these stories on Facebook and things like that, and I'd be like, wait a minute, I'll pull up my Facebook app.
You fact check. You're not dumb.
I pull out Politico and all these other things. I'm like, no, that's not real.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think that's really important, regardless of whether you're interested in politics or celebrity culture or anything. You should always sort of fact check and double check and see if there's another source, because if it's a big enough story, like, there will be other sources reporting on that. And I like that you brought in the celebrity gossip aspect of it, because I never even thought about that, because you go in the grocery store and you see the magazines that you know that it's all bullshit, right? And you know that. But on Facebook and the internet, it's a little harder to kind of discern, especially when there are websites that you've never heard of. You're like, I don't know if this is real or not, but it is important to remember. And it's interesting that the first time we really are approaching that and dealing with that in an election, we have a celebrity running for office.
Also, you have people that just read headlines and that's it.
And then they share it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
I know those people.
Pope Francis endorsed Trump. Share.
Yeah, guys,
even read
the news before you share, unless it's a think tank video, then just share the wazoo up that. Guys,
especially if you see this dynamic duo.
Hey. Guys, let us know what you think about this guy who wrote the fake news stories in the comments down below. Follow Kenny on Twitter at Kenny Hamilton, and we'll see you soon.
Guys, you can believe anything you want. Like back in show 156, we did it on believing, and you can believe anything you want. You can believe in the Loch Ness Monster. You can believe in Bigfoot. I watched another one. They were in a football game. They were looking for, it wasn't a Batman, it was they were looking for the Mothman. And these guys are running around at night in the woods with guns. It's only a matter of time before somebody shoots somebody. And one of the guys actually, this guy was a heavyweight. He was around 350 pounds. He collapsed. And I said, well, I thought the guy had a heart attack. But anyway. Guys, if you go back to show 156, like Larry King said, you can believe it's raining outside, but you know what? If you go outside, you can tell. You could see if it's raining. You can hear if it's raining. You could taste the rain. And this is all we want, is we want to be able to prove things. And guys, the way we prove things is we cite our source. So if you want to go back to show 104, everything's about being specific. Be specific and cite your source. And guys, hopefully, next week, we're going to do my new song on the show. And I'm telling you, it's going to be viral. I mean, it's cute, it's catchy, and it's anti-Fox and pro-global warming. So hopefully we'll do it next week. But now we're going to show you this guy, Paul Horner, and he's a comedian. He's a comedian that makes up fake news. Who better than a guy like that to be a Trump supporter? So, Judy, let's have clip number 6, please.
Is it possible that the outcome of history was changed by, of all people, this stand-up comic?
Not a care in the world.
38-year-old Paul Horner is actually taking credit for the election of Donald Trump. I think Trump is in the White House because of me, he tells the Washington Post. Horner is the guy behind a lot of those fake articles on Facebook and Google where a growing number of people get their news. He's behind such crazy stories as Donald Trump requiring all Muslims to wear badges, and President Obama signs executive order banning the national anthem.
Apparently the fake stories, the biggest ones, include that Mrs. Clinton sold weapons to ISIS.
Whoa.
That the Pope endorsed Donald Trump.
Even President Obama denounced the fake stories on his final trip overseas as commander-in-chief.
There's so much active misinformation. And it's packaged very well, and it looks the same when you see it on a Facebook page or you turn on your television.
So just who is Paul Horner? He performs stand-up comedy at local clubs around Phoenix, but his major source of income is those fake headlines. about $10,000 a month, he told Washington Post reporter Caitlin Dewey.
When a lot of people read those stories, he gets a certain amount of money for each person who clicks through, and in many cases that adds up to quite a lot of money.
How serious is the problem of fake news? One survey says more people read the fake stories about the election on Facebook and Google than read real stories from reputable news outlets. And that has real journalists very upset.
This is a lesson to all of you out there. Don't look at all that junk that's on the internet.
People should just be wary. I think people need to take a breath before they believe everything they read.
So the next time you see headlines just too wacky to believe, this comedian could be responsible, and the joke will be on you.
Not a care in the world.
$10,000 a month. That guy makes $10,000 a month. Did I tell you that Santa Claus's sled is stuck in the mud at the North Pole? Spread it around. Uncle Joey. All right, guys. The next clip we're going to do is on Trump and Trump's deception. And this is going to be from Brian Stetler from CNN. We had him on, I think, 2 weeks ago. And, you know, we'll listen to him, and then we're going to show you how these claims are virtually groundless. So, Judy, let's have number 7, please.
It has people rethinking some of the basic premises of journalism, like the assumption that everything a president says is automatically news. When President-elect Trump lies so casually, so cynically, the news isn't so much the false thing he said, it's that he felt like he could just go ahead and say it, go ahead and lie to you. That's the story. Why does he bend and flex and twist and warp and distort the truth? Personally, I'm curious because I think Trump does it differently than past presidents. His lies are different and deserve scrutiny. I mean, look, for as long as people have been talking, people have been lying, right? Look at these presidential one-liners. They are infamous.
Well, I'm not a crook.
Read my lips. No new taxes.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
In the Battle of Iraq, the United States and our allies have prevailed.
If you like your doctor, you keep your doctor. If you like your current insurance, you keep that insurance. Period.
All of those cases are a little bit different, but normally when presidents fib, it's hard to prove the fib at the time. And later, when the truth does come out, as it always does, presidents pay a price. Certainly, President Obama paid a price for saying, if you like your health care plan, you can keep it. PolitiFact called that the lie of the year back in 2013. Will President Trump pay a price for lying too? Or is something broken? Will voters just shrug it off? Let me show you an example. Something small but revealing from Trump's rally on Thursday.
We won in a landslide. That was a landslide. And we didn't have the press.
What planet
the press
do you live
was
on?
brutal.
Landslide is obviously untrue. It's not possible to lose the popular vote by 2.5 million and win in a landslide. This was rightly fact-checked all over the place, just like many of Trump's campaign exaggerations. Of the statements checked by PolitiFact during the campaign, 70% were rated mostly false, or pants on fire. This is how Trump deceives people differently than past presidents have. Court cases involving Trump have shown that he lies even when the truth is really easy to discern. And that's what we're seeing all again now. That's why I think fact-checking is important, but the framing of these stories is even more important. Take Trump's promotion of this voter fraud conspiracy idea. He said on Twitter, I won the popular vote if you deduct the millions of people who voted illegally. The journalistic impulse was to say something like, Trump claims he won the popular vote. I would suggest to you the better framing is, Trump lies again, embracing a far right-wing conspiracy theory. See, focusing on the falsehood creates more confusion and gives the lie even more life, and that's the wrong way to go. Focusing on Trump's tendency to buy into BS gets to what's really going on here. This calls for more reporting, and for reporters to show our work, to show that we actually know the truth. That's why I thought it was good that on Monday, many reporters asked on this conference call with Trump aides, where did Trump get this idea? His transition team cited studies that didn't actually back up his claim. The idea that millions of people voted illegally in November had roots in a tweet from a Republican in Texas who hasn't provided proof. Then the pro-Trump conspiracy website InfoWars picked up on it. You can see the headline here. And then it spread all across the web from there. That's the best sense of how this came about. Maybe it's wishful thinking that millions of illegal people voted, but it's just not untrue. It's unhinged. Per the Washington Post, there's been just 4 documented cases of voter fraud in the 2016 election. Maybe there's more, but there should be evidence. There should be proof. When the president says something, however, when the president says something, a lie is given much more power, which means the press has to have the power to respond. For more on this, joining me.
Guys, when it's a lie, you call it a lie. When it's a spade, you call it a spade. It's that simple. You call it what it is. And the next clip we're going to show you is going to prove how groundless, you know, like Pence was, he made the rounds. And the ironic thing was, he said virtually the same thing on on the Sunday morning shows. I mean, it's like they have it rehearsed. And you sit there and you listen to him, and I tell you, I wish I could interview him. Because it's funny. Every time I talk with Uncle Joey, I can never ask him one question. I have to ask him the same thing in a series. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is with the Republican brain, why it doesn't work the first time. It takes 2 or 3 times. But the next clip we're going to show you is how most of this stuff, like the illegal voting, is just groundless bull. And they play this game. And how could you sit there on national TV? You know, I wish there was a lie detector or something. Like a shock. When you made a lie, all of a sudden you know, man, Trump would be dancing around. All right, but anyway, Judy, let's have clip number 8, please.
Which I want to show right now about the popular vote. And he said, in addition to winning the Electoral College in a landslide, I won the popular vote if you deduct the millions of people who voted illegally. That claim is groundless. There's no evidence to back it up. Is it responsible for a president-elect to make false statements like that?
Well, look, I think 4 years ago, the Pew Research Center found that there were millions of inaccurate voter registrations around.
Yeah, but the author of the study has said it is not any evidence about what happened in this election or any evidence of voter fraud.
Look, I think what is historic here is that our president-elect won 30 of 50 states. He won more counties than any candidate on our side since Ronald Reagan. And the fact that some partisans who are frustrated with the outcome of the election and disappointed with the outcome of the election are pointing to the popular vote, I can assure you, if this had been about the popular vote, Donald Trump and I had been campaigning a whole lot more in Illinois and California and New York.
And no one is questioning your victory. Certainly, I'm not questioning your victory. I'm asking just about that tweet, which I want to say that he said he would have won the popular vote if you deduct the millions of people who voted illegally. That statement is false. Why is it responsible to make it?
Well, I think the president-elect just wants to call to attention the fact that that there has been evidence over many years of
That's not what he said.
And expressing that reality, the Pew Research Center found evidence of that 4 years ago.
It's
Is certainly his right. But you know,
it's his right to make false statements.
Well, it's his right to express his opinion as a president-elect of the United States. I think one of the things that's refreshing about our president-elect, it's one of the reasons why I think he made such an incredible connection with people all across this country, is because he tells you what's on his mind.
But why is it refreshing to make false statements?
Well, look, I don't know that is a false statement, George, and neither do you. The simple fact is that
I know there's no evidence
there is evidence, historic evidence from the Pew Research Center of voter fraud that's taken place. We're in the process of investigating irregularities in the state of Indiana that were leading up to this election. That's the fact that voter fraud exists is a fact in this country.
Can you provide any evidence to back up that statement?
Well, look, I think he's expressed his opinion on that. He's entitled to express his opinion on that, and I think the American people. I think the American people find it very refreshing that they have a president who will tell them what's on his mind, and I think the connection that he made in the course
whether
of his
it's true or
campaign is
not
reflective of that. They're going to tell him what he's going to say, what he believes to be true, and I know that he's always going to speak in that way as president.
General,
a president that will look you in the eye and lie to you. And you know what? He doesn't have to look you in the eye. He can tweet. And you know what? I prefer it when he tweets, and the reason why is it's in black and white, it's dated, it's time-stamped, and it can't be denied. So, Judy, let's have, this is the new section of our show. This is called the Lie of the Week. And this is, can you imagine you have a president and you have to have a Lie of the Week? And guys, you know, just for fun, you know, our first Lie of the Week was that Trump said he never settles anything. And of course he settled the Trump University lawsuit. And on the second week, he said wind and solar don't work. He said it takes 36 years to get your money back with solar. This guy doesn't know his ass from a hole in the wall. But now this is the third one. And guys, this will be this is the third week, and this will be Trump's Lie of the Week. So, Judy, let's have still number 9, please. And, guys, we'll read still number 9. And this is from Trump. In addition to winning the Electoral College in a landslide, I won the popular vote if you deduct the millions of people who voted illegally. And, guys, there's the time, and there's the date. And you see, that's from Uncle Donnie. And Judy, come back to me. But guys, there it is in black and white. And this guy's going to be leading the country? Are you kidding me? I mean, how stupid do you have to be to buy what he's selling? And talking about being stupid and, you know, the way we've been misled, and the fake news, the next still I'm going to show you is from Breitbart. So, Judy, let's have number 11. And, guys, if you were to look at this, you would see global temperatures plunge, icy science from the climate alarmists. And at the bottom, let's see if I could read that. It's by James Dinglepole. All right? So he's the author. So, Judy, let's go to number 12 now. And you'll see what Dinglepole had to write. And see, all Dinglepole wrote was global land temperatures have plummeted by, he's just putting up a headline, since 1 degree Celsius since the middle of the year, the biggest and steepest fall on record. Well, guys, this is what's called cherry picking, but I just want you to show you how he laid it out. So, Judy, let's go to number 13 now. And you'll show how he was able to do this. And where does he get his information from? From David Rose. And who is David Rose? He's a climate denier. And David Rose, we caught him with his hand in the cookie jar. And we're going to show you that clip in a minute. But in the meantime, we're going to go to number 14 now. And we're going to show you, this is what James Dinglepole had to say about NASA and NOAA scientists. He said that they're talentless lowlives. Can you imagine this? The experts at NASA. And he wrote, possibly there are exceptions to this rule somewhere. But just look at NASA, GIS, NOAA, and the Climate Research Unit at the University of East Anglia Hadley Center at the Met Office. 3 of the main organizations responsible for maintaining the world's temperature data sets. Judy, come back to me. So as you can see, he's implying that NASA and NOAA, that they fudged the numbers. All right? So now what we're going to show you is, we're going to show you a clip that's going to prove and show you how they did it and how David Rose has virtually been condemned by Hadcut 4. They told him, they said, listen, stop with the nonsense. Stop twisting what we say. When we tell you give you a set of data, that's the data. Don't try to twist it and take things out of context. We ain't buying it. And they warned them. So guys, how do we do things on this show? We prove it, right? And that's why we call the show Who's Telling the Truth. So Judy, let's have clip number 15, please.
I'm sure you've all seen this by now. Met Office releases new figures that show no warming in 15 years. It's a story in the Mail on Sunday, written by David Rose.
David Rose.
The story has gone viral, being repeated in blogs all over the internet,
Look
without
at that,
any
guys,
of them
one
bothering
after
to
the
check
other.
or verify it. Even though the British Meteorological Office issued a public statement correcting the Mail's story. Despite the Met Office having spoken to David Rose ahead of the publication of the story, he has chosen to not fully include the answers we gave him to questions around decadal projections produced by the Met Office, or his belief that we have seen no warming since 1997.
Unbelievable, huh, guys?
Oh dear, looks like Rose got the story wrong. He won't be making that mistake again. But yes, he did. Eagle-eyed viewers will have spotted that this claim about the Met Office admitting 15 years of no warming was made back in January. 9 months on, Rose has given birth to yet another story that looks like a carbon copy of the first. Global warming stopped 16 years ago, reveals Met Office report, quietly released. And once again, the bloggers are regurgitating this without bothering to read the Met Office report, because if they'd tried, they would have quickly discovered that there is no Met Office report. The Met Office simply released updated global temperature data called Hadcut 4, along with a 4-line description of how the dataset was compiled. There was no analysis or interpretation of the data at all. Rose invented this fictitious report in order to stamp his own interpretation on the data. And just as in January, the Met Office issued a statement correcting the Mail on Sunday story. As Yogi Berra would say, déjà vu all over again. The Met Office even took the unusual step of publishing its response given to Rose when he made some inquiries before writing his story. When Rose specifically asked if there'd been no warming trend since 1997, the Met Office responded, there has been a warming trend. It even gave him the figure. It then explained the principle of determining trends and the pitfalls of arbitrarily choosing start and end points over a short period of time and drawing a straight line in between them. It tried to explain, just as I have in my videos, that in the short term, climate is not only affected by CO2, but by other factors such as ocean-based oscillations. Almost none of the information the Met Office gave him made it into Rose's story. Rose simply made up his own interpretation of the data and made it look as though this came from a Met Office report. Then Rose proudly announced that, until today, this has not been reported. Hate to break it to you, David, but the reason no one else reported on this is because even other tabloid newspapers didn't have the balls to pluck all this out of thin air and then try to pass it off as the work of the Met Office. For Rose to do his own analysis is fine, as long as he and the Mail on Sunday make this clear. Just tell the world that a tabloid newspaper reporter with no background in science has concluded that global warming stopped in 1997, as far as he can tell, and let the world make of that what they will. If that admission had been made, I doubt we'd be seeing Rose's analysis plastered all over the internet and in the mainstream media.
Global warming ended 16 years ago. That's according to new data which shows...
No, that's according to an unqualified tabloid journalist who took a stab at analysing this data himself. Why people still insist on unconditionally believing the Daily Mail, despite its appalling record of inaccurate reporting on climate science, is beyond me. And why anyone would want to send me a message claiming the Met Office has published findings that there has been no verifiable warming for 16 years, as if I would be so stupid and so gullible as to believe this quote without bothering to check it, is also beyond me. If I've emphasized anything on my channel, it's the importance of checking and verifying sources. Fortunately, most of the people who messaged me about the Mail story saw right through it and were sensible enough to check the facts for themselves. But I'm frankly getting tired of having to do the checking for all those gullible bloggers out there who simply repeat this stuff without checking it. Now, I'm sure the comments forum will be filled with a lot of amateur climatologists who'll tell me they've looked at the Daily Mail graph and it does look like global warming stopped in 1997. Well, I've made several videos explaining why experts see things very differently to amateurs, because the experts take into account various factors that are either not understood or ignored by the amateurs. So before you start giving me your beliefs and gut feeling about what the graph looks like to you, please visit these videos and find out how climate scientists calculate temperature trends. If you think the experts are wrong, then you have ample space on those video fora to give us the benefit of your expertise. My beef here is not with the tired old myth that global warming has stopped, but with the disingenuousness of reporters and tabloid newspapers that are willing to change facts to make a sensational story, and with the blogging blockheads who are willing to swallow their stories without a hint of skepticism. Look, guys, I admit I'm not very smart. I came bottom of my class at school. What I do on this channel is not superhuman. I use my experience as a science reporter to try to convey what scientific research has discovered. And when I read something that reports on scientific research, I check it. To climate science critics, any one of you could have checked the Mail on Sunday story. It would have taken just a few seconds to click on the Met Office website to see what this so-called report says, or even if it exists. Really, how hard can that be?
Guys, it would be really simple, like he said. All they had to do was check the Met Office. But no, they'd rather get their information from a conservative site, from David Rose. And you know, you saw Brian Kilmeade from Fox News, and he said, according to scientists, the world hasn't warmed in 16 years. And he says, no, that's according to an uneducated journalist. And I say an uneducated journalist who works for Fox News and doesn't understand science. But you know, Fox News and the Republican Party, they're puppets of the fossil fuel industry. And that's why it's so important, kids. You got to tell your parents we got to do something about global warming, because Santa's sled is stuck at the North Pole. But guys, the one thing that Uncle Joey hates is charts. So hopefully Judy has still number 16 ready. And guys, this is a chart on the amount of carbon dioxide in the air. So Judy, still number 6. Look at this, guys. Yeah, give me the whole chart, Judy. Now, if you look at this, this is what's called the Keeling curve, guys. And if you look back in 1960, the parts per million of carbon dioxide in the air were about 315. Now we're up around 405. So what's that, about a 30% increase? 25, 30% increase? All right, come back to me, Judy. So Joey, I always ask Joey, show me a chart where global warming isn't happening. You know what, guys? I'm still waiting. He doesn't have any. There aren't any. And why? Because global warming is real. It's happening. It's that simple. And you can look this stuff up. And like I always say, you don't have to be a Rhodes Scholar. You don't have to be first in your class. All you have to do is want to know what's true. That's all. Judy, where's our bug? Who's telling the truth bug? Yeah, oh, man, Judy's on the ball. Now, guys, you know, after we looked at that chart, you're going to say, well, Rich, what difference does, you know, putting all that carbon have in the air? You know, how is that going to affect anything? Guys, it's going to create what's called extreme weather. It's really simple. You can't fool Mother Nature. So, Judy, let's have clip number 17, please.
Other breaking story is the destructive Tennessee wildfires. Dramatic cell phone video shows a desperate drive to escape here.
Guys,
sparks and flames shoot across
this?
the roadway. Cabins can be seen burning in the woods nearby. Tourists were trapped inside a hotel in Gatlinburg as flames burned just outside.
Strong winds drove the fires from the
Can you
Great
imagine
Smoky
looking out
Mountains
your
National
hotel
Park into
window and
nearby
that's what
town
you see?
Dollywood. The Dolly Parton theme park is threatened. Danny Roberti of our Knoxville affiliate WVLT is at a sports complex in Gatlinburg where hundreds of people are stranded. Danny, good morning.
Good morning. This Red Cross shelter right here is one of just many locations where residents are staying the night after fleeing their homes due to these fast-moving wildfires right here in Gatlinburg. Now, 600 are registered here. They've got their pets, the clothes on their backs, and most don't know what they're going to find when they see the sun come up in the morning.
Hit the gas! Hit the gas!
Cell phone video shows flames surrounding a driver evacuating the
hell
area
looks
of
like,
Gatlinburg,
huh?
Tennessee, late Monday night.
God.
Fire threatened to block off the only road to safety.
Go, 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 go.
At one point, sparks flew over the windshield.
Almost every cabin in Chalet Village is burning to the freaking ground.
The driver says he was able to escape.
I can't
It is
imagine
unclear
being
if
in this.
everyone was as lucky.
Yes.
Flames closed in on the Park Vista Hotel in downtown Gatlinburg. People trapped inside recorded video on their cell phones as the fire burned. The lights flickered on and off in the smoke-filled lobby where guests were forced to wear masks. Logan Baker was inside.
So they're keeping us in here for now, but the smoke is like really bad in here.
At one point, at least 30 structures in Gatlinburg were burning. The Mountain Lodge, a roadside restaurant, was destroyed.
Oh my God, it's so hot.
High winds caused the Chimney 2 fire, which began in the Smoky Mountains last week, to descend on surrounding towns. Drivers captured the fires cascading down the mountain as they were forced to evacuate. Earlier in the day, smoke blanketed Gatlinburg in an ominous cloud.
We're dealing with some very difficult situations here in Gatlinburg. That if you are a person that prays, we could use your prayers.
Now, so far, officials tell me there are no reported deaths. Schools in the surrounding counties are closed today. That fire did burn to the doorstep of Dolly Parton's theme park, but officials tell CBS News that they've evacuated all guests and there's no damage to the property. Gail?
Danny, thank you very much.
Guys, like we've said on this show many times, is it a coincidence or is it climate change? Now, a lot of people are going to say, Rich, you can't blame a fire on climate change. Guys, when you have extreme weather, it hasn't rained there for, I forget how many days it didn't rain there. In other parts of the country, it rained so hard. You know, look, we've covered the floods in Houston, in Charleston, what was it, Charlotte? Yeah, Charlotte. You know, so I mean, you see the extreme weather, and these things are happening. And guys, the next clip we're going to play you is from Fox News. And this is the only thing I can say about this clip is this is an ambush. This is an out-and-out ambush by Jesse Waters from Fox News. And I want to tell you something. If I ever got out of my truck at night and somebody was in my driveway, if I didn't have a heart attack, we're going to fight. And when you see what Fox News did to this professor, I want to tell you, if he ever pulled the shenanigans with me, like I said, we're going to fight. So, Judy, let's prove my point. Clip number 31, please.
Waters World segment tonight, an outrageous situation in Massachusetts. As you may know, the president of Hampshire College, a man named Jonathan Lash, refusing to fly the American flag on campus. This led to some demonstrations against Mr. Lash and his school. So we sent Waters up to the Commonwealth, talked to the folks about it, also to see if Mr. Lash would talk with him.
A lonely flagpole at the center of the Hampshire College campus in Amherst is also at the center of a new controversy after the college decided to remove the American flag in order to facilitate a dialogue about what Old Glory actually stands for.
They took down the flag to create a dialogue, and Fox News went bullshit.
Well, a lot of people in this town live in that alternative world, alternative universe. It's really leftist.
If you go to the center of town and look at the town hall, you'll find that the town flies the flag of the United Nations.
Tell me what you know about Hampshire College.
Oh, the 5 colleges in this region, it's definitely the most liberal.
The flag was burned, so there was a situation that we had to address.
Do you think there's any level of disrespect that's prevalent here in the community?
Oh, rampant.
I think most of the people at the demonstration Sunday were very disappointed in how insensitive some of the students are towards the flag. It was more
These
of
are the
a
people that vote for
group of
Trump,
people
guys.
who came together because they felt so violated by what this student or students had done in terms of burning the flag.
What would you like to see that happen to the president of Hampshire College?
Before the demonstration on Sunday, he went down to the Amherst VFW and he apologized for what had happened.
But then when he was probed as to his reasons, they were the same reasons that you hear all the time: fairness, justice, blah, blah, blah.
I'm sure he's heard from a lot of folks, especially veterans, and I would support that feeling of veterans. I can't see a compelling reason for a private or a public institution to not find a way to fly the flag.
What is he there for if he's not going to be a leader?
You ask the question, he'd have to answer that.
Now, after Waters had that dialogue, he...
The time gods are against us. Guys, I'm going to have to play that clip on the next show, because I want to tell you, this guy Waters actually stuck his foot in the professor's door. And if somebody stuck their foot in my door, I'd stick my foot up their ass. And that's plain and simple. Because you don't go to somebody's house and try to intimidate them because you work for Fox News. That's bull. Guys, I'm sorry I got excited, but there's certain things that you don't do. So I'm going to say goodnight on that note, and we'll play the whole clip next
Waters
week.
World segment tonight, an outrageous situation in Massachusetts.